Allahabad treated all of you till now? So all of you have coming to Allahabad for the first time? Anybody revisiting? So ironically now since you guys are here to worship the holy Ganga or whatever you believe, some people might be even carrying the Ganga water back. So it is important for us to understand the real hydration. This topic I have generated through my thoughts and try to merge a lot of concepts, and let's see how we can interact. So I want the session, we can make it interactive. You can stop me wherever you want, any doubts. The topic is called the hydration blueprint. Structured water. Has anybody any idea of structured water? Any idea? Blue mind. Any idea? And the foundations of longevity. Longevity, I am sure everybody has an idea. So I think so health is not just an absence of illness, as we all know. It's the balance between the body, mind and soul. And what next please, next. So lifespan, we have any idea little about lifespan? So I will just go through some basic concepts about longevity, and then today we have only time to discuss just one part of one pillar, because otherwise we can talk at length to so many pillars. So lifespan is the number of years which we live, and it has gradually increased in the last many decades because of development of a lot of medicine, a lot of technology, a lot of newer medicines, antibiotics, so many things. But do we really need to focus on the lifespan? No. Next. So the health span is the right term which we should focus on. So for example, when we look at our grandparents, for example, my grandparents' age, your parents' age, me probably. So we all see that the last decade of their lives, whomsoever is living, how do the last decade of the people spend their last decade of their lives? They usually do it sitting or in this very sedentary lifestyle. So that the last decade is called the marginal decade. And we should all today or whenever we really want to focus on our health or focus on our health span, make 10 list items on our list which we want to do in our last decade of our lives. And today the world, it's no more era of where we need to be scared about cancer or other diseases, because technology and things have progressed too much. If we really think and understand the basic concepts that cancer is not a disease to be worried of. We are now in an era where we are treating and researching aging, and anti-aging, longevity is this era. So this is the era where the cancer research was there 50 years back. Cancer, there is lots of good treatment available. I'll tell in brief ahead. So health span is the number of healthy years which we spend in our lives, free from illness. Next. So we always choose health span over lifespan. So for staying healthy, these are some basic things. It might seem basic, but if we'll try and touch some pillars today. So one first and the most important pillar is what we consume through our mouth, which is the nutrition. But in the nutrition pillar, hydration is one more important, which I will be highlighting today. The second pillar is movement and exercise. So what is movement and exercise? When we came to earth, we were all hunter-gatherers, so movement was a natural part of our lives. We used to move naturally, we used to get up and we used to start moving for food. And there was no exercise. We discovered the term exercise when we had introduced our lives and made our lives so much comfortable for so many people. So then I'll just briefly mention about the pillars, and then I'll send one slide about pillars, and then I'll go to the hydration, which is the main topic today. Sleep is one important pillar which I was also ignoring. Number 4 is meditation, but in a scientific way, non-sleep, deep rest, or the blue mind concept I want to really highlight here today. Number 5 is the emotional health and the proactive testing. Next, please. So nutrition is not the agenda of today, but nutrition, the gut health is the main health, because all disease, as we know, begins in the gut. And not just our gut health, but our immune system. 70% of our immune system is in our gut. Our skin health, our heart health, everything starts from our gut actually. And so there are a lot of bad concepts about eating this diet, superfood, that food, but actually what we have is our gut is not just our cells. As humans, we are made up of 37 trillion cells, average human person, And more than 5 to 10 times of the number of cells in our body is the number of bacteria, virus, and different fungi which live as a complex organism inside us. Mostly in our gut, but even all our skin, hair, and so many other cavities. So our gut is comprised of trillions of bacteria, good bacteria mainly, and some bad bacteria, some fungi, some different other microorganisms, which they have cultured inside our body. If you, for example, eat an avocado, people say an avocado is a superfood, but an avocado cannot be a superfood for everybody, because once it goes inside your body, how does it break down? Some foods break down into butyrate, some foods break down into different, for example, red meat breaks down into a complex compound known as TMAO. I'll not go into the full forms because anyways it will become too scientific. So it depends on what the food product breaks down to. And then it narrows down to whether we have good bacteria to digest that particles. That makes our gut healthy. So everybody's gut microbiome, there is a microbiome which is called the gut microbiome, is different. For example, I did, for curiosity, I did the test on my own, which says that there are 5,000 species of bacteria in my gut. So I'll just introduce it slightly because I'm a gut specialist. I'm a laparoscopic cancer surgeon. I forgot my introduction in the beginning, sorry. So, and also a wildlife lover. So I love biodiversity, and both in the air, so birds, and both under the ocean also as a scuba diver. So in that rich biodiversity is also there inside of us. So that's what the true gut health lives. If we have to take care of our gut health, we need to understand our own personal microbiome. And in US, many people are here from the US, there have been started to develop personalized probiotic products. That is the future, because a probiotic capsule, we all know, is healthy. We all know curd is healthy. We all know we should try and adapt more and more richer, diverse probiotics, diverse good bacteria. Like if you eat an achar, it will have different kinds of bacteria. If you eat another kimchi or some Korean fermented food, it will have a different set of good bacteria. If you eat curd, dahi, lassi, different bacteria. If you eat curd probably in India and curd in LA, it might have some different bacteria. So if you go into the bacteria world, it is really intense, and diseases like all the chronic diseases can be treated with the gut by working on these closely on these microflora. For example, even diabetes can be treated, even hypertension can be treated, even obesity, metabolic syndrome, and even your mental health, because there is a gut-brain axis, as we all know. So I will not go too deep. I will, if anybody has specific interest, like somebody was saying she wants to ask me about gut health, I can maybe do a personal video call session. If not, we can, if we don't meet too often here. Next, please. Second, I already told movement. So exercise is a basic concept. Everybody knows we need to exercise. Exercise consists of cardio, strength, flexibility. So you cannot choose one. Ideally, we all have to do all three, which is strength training, very, very essential for all of you sitting here. Why? Because after 40, there is chronic muscle loss that is called age-related sarcopenia. Everybody has that. And if you're not working on your muscles, your muscle health is declining at a rapid pace. And it will not be able to support you in your older ages if you're not working on it. Cardio, obviously. So there are some parameters which probably you know, or you might be hearing for the first time, like terms like HRV, heart rate variability, and VO2 max. These are some, if you Google it also, which is the most important cardiovascular parameter for health, it is VO2 max. But you go to any big hospital in LA, in US, or maybe in India also, no cardiologist is measuring VO2 max. No cardiologist is measuring HRV. Such essential parameters. HRV is one important parameter. Maybe when I talk about the blue mind, I'll try and put more light to that. And flexibility. So we have to do all the three. Next, please. Sleep. Sleep is a silent healer. We don't just sleep. 1/3 of our lives we spend in our sleep. And all our systems, including our gut, including our liver, the detoxification system, the immune system, we have in our, when we are here, gathering so many environmental insults, so many radiations, so many toxins we are consuming. So there are lots of DNA damages we have. We have our DNA repair mechanism, which automatically works brilliantly if we let it work for those 8 hours. So 8 hours of sleep, especially at your age, for all the people sitting, should be non-negotiable. Because studies have been found, all from reputed journals, that up to 1 to 2 hours of diseases like neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinsonism, and so many others. So sleep is a very interesting topic. It is about this, understanding your circadian cycle. One small interesting fact, if anybody again wants to discuss sleep in detail, I can speak probably an hour just on sleep because sleep is such a complex topic. Circadian cycle, for example, our body has an internal clock. It has a master clock somewhere in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a fancy term, small organ inside our brain. It resets our clock every day because the earth clock is 24 hours, quite obvious, but our human clock is not 24 hours. It is 24 hours, 15 minutes for somebody, 24 hours, 30 minutes, 24 hours, 25 hours also for many people. And especially all of you traveling from the US, there's a lot of jet lag, a lot of clock upsetting happening. And clock is not just one clock in our body. There is a clock in our liver, clock in our gut, clock in our immune system. So if we align all those clocks, and how do we do that? The glasses which I am wearing must seem fancy to you. These are yellow glasses, yellow tinge glasses. But these are not just for fashion. These are glasses which help in setting my circadian rhythm better. How? I'll tell at the end of the talk so that some curiosity remains. Next. Non-sleep depressed is the fourth pillar. It is, as I told, it's a scientific term for meditation. But non-sleep depressed, as in when we sleep, there are different waves. Alpha wave, theta wave, beta wave is the wave of when we are awake and active. So non-sleep depressed is a protocol similar to meditation, similar to yoga nidra, and it brings you to alpha state. And it again links to the same state which we get in blue mind. So next please. Blue mind, I'll come to it. Next. Fifth, we all know, which we are doing right now, which we have come all the way, emotional health and social interactions. I'll not get that into it. Next. Blue zones we have a little bit idea of, so I'll not get into the blue zones because I want to tell you things which you might not have ever heard. Next. Proactive testing, as I told you, there are some gut microbiome analysis which I've already highlighted. Usually people are getting it done, and it's now pretty cheap. HRV, VO2, etc. I'll talk about it probably later. Next. So we come down to the most important topic of today, that is hydration paradigm. Next. So do you know that water is most curious element on the earth, and everybody sitting here, their brains are made up of 70 to 80% water. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, I would request just be like water, my friend, as Bruce Lee said. And you would automatically absorb a lot of new things. And in the end, I would probably help you with some tips how to flow in life. If you become water, then you can flow in life. Next. 70%. Is this number strikes anybody? Our planet Earth is made up of 70% water. Our human body is made up of 70% water. So we all driving forces to Prayagraj for Kumbh. There is some spiritual elevation, some spiritual belief in everybody. I guess so, because we are here. So we all believe that there is somebody here. Do you think that somebody, God, universe, did this random coincidence? That it cannot be random. And I personally don't believe in coincidences. If you read to the start of any religion, from Indus Valley civilization to Muslim to Christianity, all life started near water. So and we are all natural water. Next, please. We are essentially all water babies, because there is again not even one exception. First 9 months of our lives, we are all living underwater. Amniotic fluid in our mother's womb is 80% water. And we are breathing through pharyngeal arches, which are exactly like gill slits, which the underwater aquatic organisms breathe through. Next. So hydration next. So hydration, what is hydration? We all know that probably Kumbh right now, it's a winter season, so dehydration is less. But in summer season, whenever we are traveling, picnics, anywhere, we all know dehydration. We can sometimes need to get an IV drip if we become severely dehydrated. Next. But I would want to introduce you to a new concept, a very deep concept about cellular hydration. What is cellular hydration? Before cellular hydration, next. Before cellular hydration, we should know that we age. We are aging because we are chronically dehydrating. Because a newborn is born with 70 to 80% water in his blood, in his body when he is born. And an average person at the age of 60, he is just 60% water. So we are aging because we are chronically dehydrating over decades. And this is quite evident in the nature in the next slide. Next, beta. As a young and hydrated leaf looks green, and a dehydrated and an old leaf looks brown. Next. This is how a hydrated cell looks like, all full of energy and ready to work for whatever process we want to work, and the dehydrated cell. Next. So what is basically cellular hydration? Before this, I will explain that for any process to happen in our body, be it a thought that we are thinking, be it you want to speak something you want to speaking, be it your heart beating, be it your gut cells working on the digestion, be it any organ, if you look into the microscope and what is happening at the cellular level in any bodily activity, it is simply water either entering the cell or water exiting the cell through various sodium potassium channels. There are some channels. So water ideally leaves either leaves the cell or gets inside the cell. So this is what the process is actually. So if imagine that the 37 trillion cells in our body, imagine them as single batteries, and those batteries are a special kind of batteries which work best when they are 100% hydrated. And so, for example, our immune system will work 100% efficient. Our detoxification system, as I told, the cancer cells, the insults, will work 100%, and we'll never ever get cancer if we can maintain our 100% hydration in our cells. That is called optimal hydration. Next. Next. So, but we are not able to do that. It's found scientifically that most of us, even sitting here or even me, even most of us are living in a state of chronic cellular dehydration. And this cellular dehydration is the state of which even leads to diseases like cancer. Now there have been tons of studies publishing this. And even hypertension is caused due to cellular dehydration. So when do we normally drink water? Correct, that's the most obvious answer. But now next, we have to understand that if you understand thirst deeply, it may become a little scientific, but this is very essential. For thirst is a sensation which everybody understands. Everybody has felt somewhere very soon, in very near future in their lives. But I want you to understand that thirst is a delayed physiological response. When do we feel thirsty? Our blood comprises of 70 to 80% of water, our blood. And when we are getting dehydrated, the blood water percentage goes down. So the relative salt in the blood, sodium gets high. That's called hypernatremia. The high salt concentration in our blood triggers the hypothalamus and the pituitary in our brains to release an hormone called as antidiuretic hormone, which goes to the kidneys and tells the kidney, boss, we are losing water, we need to conserve water. And in all this process, through baroreceptors and chemoreceptors, then the thirst is generated. So when we are thirsty, then we are at probably, there are no figures yet, but probably at around 70 to 80% hydrated. So already cellular dehydration, already our efficiency of our gut, our cognition, our immune system, our liver detoxification, all the systems are at 70 to 80%. And God made human body very adaptable, very flexible, because we needed to survive in the wild. There might not be water for a long time, there might not be food. So we are very adaptable. And we have adapted into this beautiful life, very comfortable life, where we just have to press a button to get food delivered right to our doorstep, if not the bed. So that's through Swiggy, Zomato, so many apps. So by making the life so comfortable, there is thirst is a very important thing which we have to work on. Next, please. Next. So the target is how much water to drink. The next obvious question, it is measured in 8 to 10 glasses, maybe 4 to 5 liters, 3 to 5 liters, different for different people again. But it cannot be measured. Again, it is similar to the gut paradigm. It is a very individualized approach. For example, I did my 11 kilometers run in the morning today, so my hydration requirement today will be different. On a winter day, it will be different. On a day where I spend more times indoor, it will be different. On a day where I ate a lot of non-veg or spicy food yesterday, today's requirement will be different. If you traveled on a flight for 24 hours, your requirement will entirely be different. And so the requirement depends on your gut to gut. So the target, ultimately, I'm coming to it, is first forget the feeling of thirst. Never ever try to just forget the feeling of thirst, and always carry your own water bottle. It might seem stupid or at your age, but it genuinely is not, especially in your travels. because the quality of water also matters. I'll come to it in a while. Next. So, and the second thing is, we always, whenever you're going to the washroom, just have a look at your pee color. That is the best hydration gauge which the God has given us. The kidneys are the best gauge, and whenever you pass urine, the urine has to be as clear as water or maybe just faintly yellow. If you can notice the yellow, that is not good. You should get alert at the same time. Next. And hydration not just comes from the water we drink, it comes from also the food which we eat. So we need to eat hydrating fruits and vegetables, which is important. And how is water connected to longevity? Next. There have been lots of studies. Next. So that water is important, hydration is important for body temperature, supports digestion, detox. I've already talked about this. Next. Boost energy, maintains all the cognitive function, weight management, skin hydration. How healthy is your skin directly depends on your water content. Your joint, because ultimately joint also has the fluid which is ultimately made up of water cells. Next. And there have been a lot of studies in students, in athletes and published in, next please, about dehydration and the endurance performance. There was a group in Stanford Medical School, 30 students, 2 different groups, and they were followed for up to 5 years. In one group, they were consciously hydrated, and the other group, they were just left as it is. And their academic performance in all the 30 students were much better in the hydrated group. Their athletic performance was much better. Their extracurricular performance was much better. Next. So cognition. Next. Next. Even on the strength training. Now, coming to the new concept about structured water. Has anybody little bit idea? No? So structured water. Water, as we all know, that there is a lot of spiritual energy, a lot of energy around water. And water is the most absorbent material in the world. So for example, a bottle of water is left here. It will absorb all the electromagnetic radiations from the room, from the laptop, from the screen, from the projector, from our mobile phones, from the light, etc. Even if you go to a pitch dark room in the resort or maybe a point in the earth, there are also infrared rays. Even that changes the structure of the water. So that ultimately, for example, the water is made up of H2O molecules. Next, please. Next. 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 So for example, a glass of water, water is made up of H2O molecules, we all know that, right? So when, if the glass of water is kept as is shown in the figure, and it will absorb the right electromagnetic radiations, the OH negative ions will come up to the surface of the water, like here. So there will be a zone of water formed here, which will consist of the OH negative ions, and the H ions will be pushed below. Similarly, inside the cells, on the surface of the cells, there will be OH negative ions all across, and there will be H ions in the center. And this OH negative ions makes this exclusion zone of water, the zone of OH negative ions, is the most purest form of water. There are no toxins, no heavy metals, no bacteria, no virus in that zone. And this is really been proven by Gerald Pollack, who is also a Nobel laureate for the same. So this structured water, and as we all know, all these kinds of discoveries take 20, 30 years to ultimately shape into something productive. And this decade is that productive decade. That is why I wanted to talk about water little. So this is, next please. So this is how a water molecule look. So an unstructured water, in all the H2O molecules will keep bouncing off each other. If you leave a lot of students in one room and they'll keep fighting, so it's exactly that what is happening in an unstructured water. And in a structured water, this has all been proven by molecular studies, by various light tests. So as you can see, the H2O molecules is structured water is basically H3O2. The molecules coalesce and form an hexagonal structure. So what is structured water? When we all know that water exists in 3 phases: solid, liquid, and gaseous. But if you cut open a cell in a lab, under a microscope, the water will not flow like a liquid. The water will not evaporate, and water is obviously not solid. So it is in a gel-like hexagonal consistency. When we artificially structure the water doesn't become a gel, but it still reaches this phase where the hexagonal rays are there. And if you pass light through this, the diffraction is different. And so it is like our cells have this natural, beautiful system of structuring the water. Whatever water we feed the cells, when it absorbs inside the cell, it filters and becomes structured water inside a cell. Both are animal cells and even plant cells. Next. Next. So as I told, it is absorbed by so many radiations. Methods of creating structured water next, by various vortexing devices, magnetic devices, electromagnetic devices, even some use of lunar and solar cycles. So there are two. I'm not working with any other company, just telling you in heads up. This is just a scientific knowledge which I am using myself and trying to share with others. This is one device. I can pass it over for people can have a feel because it's quite heavy. For the look of this device, when you pass water over the top of the water percolates down, and it is a magnetic, electromagnetic, and it has been, while making, it has been put to various solar and lunar cycles also. So it changes the structure. And the company claims that once the water comes out of it, it remains structured for up to 3 years. Because suppose I structure the water, I keep it here. Again, it will absorb so many electromagnetic radiations are there everywhere, as I just told you. So it is that. And this is another one of those structured water concept, bottle, which pumps hydrogen gas. Next, kar dijiye. Next. Back, please. So other ways of structuring water. We all know that everybody has heard this, that we should walk barefoot in nature. It's healthy. So what is the science behind that? Anybody has any idea? We all know that it is good, right? We all do it, try to practice it sometimes. So yes, please. Yeah, it's the grounding. But what exactly is the grounding? So the Earth's surface, which you say grounding, is OH negative charged. And the H plus of the Mother Earth is way up in the ionosphere. That is why lightning happens in the first place, because of the different charge. So when we walk barefoot on the Mother Earth, you absorb all the OH negative ions, and it kinds of structures the water inside your body. And very, very interesting, our Ayurvedic magic molecule ghee. We all know that ghee is eating healthy, though it's a saturated fat. Science still says it's a saturated fat, but still it is healthy. So in the same beaker experiment, there was a solidified rod of ghee kept, and all the OH negative ions in the entire big bowl of water correlated to that. So ghee is a very important source of structuring of water. When you consume ghee, the water inside us, each of our cells, digestion, and all those things, they structure the water. And other activities like infrared sauna, running is also helps you ground and structure the water next. That structured water is more easily absorbed, it gives more energy, it is more ATPs there, and ATPs are main energy source. Our mitochondria remain healthy, it helps remove toxins more healthy. Next. So a simple fact of just changing the quality of the water and making it structured with very, very cheap devices, like these devices are 8 to 10,000 bucks Indian rupees. Next. And these are some other more scientific studies which I will not go through this, because I want to talk to you about a little bit of gut health also, if we can. This is the Jiva water device which I showed you. Next. A lot of studies have been done all across the world. Next. Anybody has any questions, please, you can happily ask. Yes, please.
What is your opinion about drinking RO water, which we are drinking every day at our homes?
See, sir, very good question. RO water is the basic essential which we need to drink, because RO is the most reliable source right now. For example, the water quality which our municipality, if you are living in India or even abroad, water quality which our government labels as safe to drink, right? It has 0.05 or 0.00% of lead, heavy metals also, but it has been labeled by FDA that these are safe levels for us. There is the percentage of level of lead or mercury or cadmium, safe is 0. If you consume 0.0005% of lead also, it is going to go and deposit in your body somewhere. So RO is the basic necessity, we have to all use it. These are over and above the ROs which we are talking about, or any filtration or standard filtration system, because what you believe.
So there is no negative about RO?
No, there is no negative about RO. Overusing RO or overusing filters can take off all the minerals. So you need to add some salts sometimes, specifically for people with kidney diseases or with some toxicity or some deficiencies.
One more.
Yes, please.
And some people
alkaline water.
alkaline water and titanium plates, working with them.
So all these are alkaline water is still because all disease, all the bacteria, they tend to grow in acidity. So alkaline water is antioxidant. It is good definitely. But these especially the hydrogen water and the Jiva water or the structured water is a concept way above that and have lots of cellular health benefits. Alkaline water has local benefits because, as I told you, it calms the acidity in our stomach, it calms the acidity in various cavities. Even our urine infection and vaginal infection tend to more happen in acidic environments. So alkalinity is good in general overall. Next.
Kangen water.
Kangen water, yeah. So Kangen also actually structures the water. It is a kind of alkaline water, but it also works on structuring the water. I don't know why the company is not using the term structured water or spreading about this concept, because actually if you read the science, it does. Next.
It is to be drink with the food, or it is only for few times.
Food.
Kangen water.
Kangen water, alkaline water, or whichever water you can improve the quality, then you should consume it daily. For example, this hydrogen water. Why are we talking about hydrogen? एक back करिए. Next, एक back करिए, please. एक और back.
खाने के साथ पीना है क्या होता है?
See, all those things are very, very true. You should not consume water, or you should consume water at least half an hour before meals or after meals, not while eating, because it dilutes the acidic environment of our enzymes. And a lot of bile is secreted. When we eat a food, the bile is secreted into the gut. If you drink water, it will dilute the bile. Bile has so many enzymes, pigments, pancreatic enzymes, which if diluted, the food, especially the fat, the protein will remain undigested, some of them. So that is why, so all it aligns, the science actually merges with the a lot of Ayurvedic concepts. Next. Next. I'll tell about hydrogen water personally to somebody if anybody is interested in knowing that. Next. Next, beta. So now we come to this concept of the blue mind. What is blue mind? This book was written by Wallace Nicholas, who was a marine biologist, and he wrote this book, Why Being Near Water Makes You a Happier and a Calmer Person. So what is the blue mind? Blue mind is, as defined, is a mildly meditative state, which is a state of calmness, peacefulness, relaxed sensation, a sense of well-being in the given moment. And all humans reflexly achieve that when we are near water, like you all are this time, around water, over water, in a boat probably, or underwater, scuba diving or all those things. So whenever you are over, around, near water, you get into its automatic meditation state. Next. Next. And so this is an automatic meditation, and nobody can deny that, as we already discussed, that everybody is a water baby. But there is, due to some past life issues, some issues in our childhood, or some stories, many people might have some fear regarding water. They might not want to swim in the water, have that memory. So that is all created memory. And as naturally by reflex, we love water, and we have automatically lived inside the water. So when blue mind happens, is that there is true connection. And if you really go, for example, I'll give you a very brilliant example. 4 of you, a family of mother, father, and one daughter and one boy, they go to a beach vacation. Somebody will, one of them will want to just lie down next to the beach and just read a book. Somebody will close his eyes and want to just listen to the sound of the waves of the water. A crazy person like me would probably dive into the water and do the exploration of the underwater creatures, scuba diving. Somebody would just swim, somebody would just stay near the water. We all believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that we are relaxing, resting, right? But an astonishing thing happens. When we all believe, you're convinced that we are relaxing, resting, we consume the maximum amount of oxygen. Our brain consumes the maximum amount of oxygen in that state. Our brain consumes the maximum amount of glucose also in that state. How can that happen? Because that is the state where we are connected to the universe. So we are in a state, something called as a default brain network. Default brain network is when we were born, which we are connected with the source, we are connected with the origin. And in that phase, it's like connecting to the alpha state, which even happens in sleep. That is why I'm connecting it to the non-sleep deep rest meditation. So in that default brain network is when our hippocampus of our body, where our core learning happens. Anybody here has seen the movie Inside Out?
Yeah.
right? So there are, you know about core emotions, right? Whatever happens in your body, there are some creatures in our mind who take the core ball and then throw it into the core memory zone. So that happens in the hippocampus. Hippocampus is the main memory consolidation area of our brains. And that is, its job is to consolidate all we learn. For example, you spend 3 beautiful days in Prayagraj. If you don't meditate, if you don't just daydream, it's the same state we reach when we daydream. A child in his class, sometimes he daydreams, right? And the teacher comes and give him a whack from behind that, what are you thinking? But actually it's good, it's the daydreaming is good actually. All the parents are going to kill me if the children here. No, but actually daydream is the same state where we activate the alpha state where the default brain network is activated. So we all need to daydream. And if we don't do that, whatever we do in the last 48 hours, this will just remain superficial. It will not change your life. It will not impact on your life. It will not go in your deep memory. It will not get consolidated. Anybody has any questions? I think you were next. 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 Has anybody, can you ever imagine a red beach? That is the calming and the cooling power of the color blue. So that is why it is called the blue mind. Next. And now, since we have talked a little bit about the blue mind, so you understand blue mind is the calm mind. So the calming system are, just to give a brief idea about how our nervous system works. Our nervous system is in our control, so that is our control nervous system. And then there is most of our nervous activity, our digestion. You don't think that let's digest our food. Come on, nervous system, start digesting our food. You don't think like that. It happens automatically. The thoughts, whatever things, breathing happens automatically. So autonomic nervous system is the most important part of our nervous system. It is divided into 2 parts. One is the parasympathetic nervous system or the vagal nerve. Little bit you might have heard it, people who have done breath work, yoga, vagal tone activation. So that's the vagal nerve, and the other is the sympathetic tone. So the vagal nerve is the parasympathetic nerve, and the non-vagal nerve is the sympathetic system. So the blue mind is mainly determined by our vagal nerve, which calms our down, which brings the heart rate down, correct? And what is the red mind? Red in mind is the stress mind. When we, suppose if we are in TUTC Bandhavgarh, we are in Allahabad, and we hear a tiger roar right now. With TUTC, it's possible in Bandhavgarh. Correct me wrong, guys, but I have heard that. So then you will get activated. Even if you're sleeping and a tiger just passes out, you get activated, even if you're very dead tired. So where will that energy comes from? That cortisol, that stress, that adrenaline, that's essential in our lives. We cannot survive without it. And so that is the red mind. But in this generation, we are constantly living in a state of red mind. As soon as we get up in the morning, what do? We check our phone, WhatsApp, we have to drop our kids to school, we have to do that, this. We are in a task-based network. Before that, I told you something called as the default brain network. There is the opposite of that is the task-based network. We are all, even if we are lazy, if we are not doing anything, still we are constantly berating ourselves, we didn't do anything productive today, having this pain, that pain. So that is all task-based. We are not letting ourselves be. That is the most important thing. Next. So our balance between the blue mind, for balancing the red mind in today's generation, we have to connect to our blue minds. And blue minds can be connected through meditation, through various things, but water is the, as I told you, most natural source. What happens when anybody is angry, you tell your son or anybody, go wash your face with water, have a glass of water, or go have a shower. So these are all calming effects because it activates the vagal tone. And how brilliantly is your tone balanced, how balance is between your blue mind and red mind is the same, can be measured by these rings today in terms of numbers, and that number is called HRV, heart rate variability. So I don't think you have heard in this much detail about HRV. It is a very, very wonder parameter. So it measures actually resilience. What is resilience? Stress resilience, physical and mental resilience. The technology is not that advanced, so don't go by the numbers in any of the rings if you want to pursue. We can go by the trends. So trend is not wrong because it's worked on your body, it measured today. What is tomorrow? If I do ice baths, so I have been practicing doing ice baths. I'm a biohacker, which is called, I'll come to that in a bit. And all these things, they activate and help the HRV. So what basically is HRV? It is balancing. For example, if any stressful event happens, so heart rate will, what will happen to it? It will climb. Your heart will start beating fast. Your pulse rate might reach 120, and then you close your eyes, you breathe, you meditate, so heart rate will come down. So how fast is the resilience? That is the resilience. How fast you come out of a stressful situation. That is measured by HRV. Next. I already talked about this. Next. So all these and next. So so what we after measuring all these Blue Mind is a very you get the concept, right? Anybody has any questions? Next. It's boost creativity, lot of activities. For example, there was a post cardiac surgery in a University of California hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in US. This study was done. Post cardiac surgery, a patient's foot and other panel, there were 3 groups of patient. One group of patient had a blank foot panel, a white panel. One group had a white ocean scenery, full blue ocean scenery, and the third patient had a enclosed forest, a green nature scenery. So what do you think happened? So in the patients which had both the nature sceneries, patient required 50% less pain injections compared to the blank foot panel. The patient who was just staring at a blank foot panel, and compared to any of the nature scenery, the green or the blue, they required 50% less pain medicines. And amongst the blue and the green, the patient who had the blue scenery in front of their foot, percent less anxiety or sleep medicines also. That is what the difference is. Next. So coming to what is flow state in life. Everybody wants to flow in life, even at any age. So how do you achieve flow in life? This again concept from the Blue Mind. It says that to be in a flow state, number 1, you have to be doing something which you love. Number 2, you have to have mastered the skill in the past to be doing that activity like a subconscious level, like walking. For example, running is a skill which I have mastered, so I can run in my sleep. For example, bird watching. For example, laparoscopic surgery. So number 1, you have to be doing something which you love. Number 2, you have to have mastered the skill to do it at a subconscious level without thinking too deep about it, but meticulously. Number 3, there has to be a challenge. For example, a surfer who's surfing on and the wave becomes too big and difficult. So that's a big challenge. Then automatically that you reach the 4th and the most beautiful phase of flow. That is what? That is loss of sense of passage of time. We all have experienced that sometimes when time passes us by. 6 hours pass and we are reading the same book, or I am doing the same surgery, or I am just so engrossed that I don't care about the time. So that is what the flow state is. Next. So some 10 fun ways which I told in the beginning I'll share. Start with something you already love or try something new. Blue Mind is my personal favorite. And as we know that water, when I told you the first part, water is inside each of our cells. Of our cells. So you don't need to practice, go to a water body. You actually just close your eyes and imagine the water in each and every cell of your body. That is also Blue Mind meditation. Or you can just keep a fountain in your room or any water source in your room. Number 2, keep it challenging but not overwhelming. Flow happens when neither it's too easy nor it's too hard. It's in the middle, then you get in the flow. Number 3, do away with the distractions. My personal favorite is do not disturb on the iPhone, because I get so many calls. If I want to do something which I don't want distraction, just put the do not disturb mode on the iPhone. Number 4 is learn something new, whichever skill, be it a musical instrument. Or number 5, don't force it. If it's not fun, switch to something else and come back later, if it is that important. Next, Peter. Next. Silence, filter, avoid multitasking. In this era, even I am guilty of saying that I also have to multitask many times, because following my passion, doing a lot of surgeries, being on social media, so it's difficult. But if you really want to be in the flow, avoid multitasking. Number 8 is breathing exercises. Let go of stress. Lots of things. We all must be doing some kinds of breathing exercises. Number 9, use music to focus. I personally use the binaural beats, which is available everywhere on YouTube. Number 10, prepare with tools like ice bath, red light therapy. This is all about biohacking, I'll come to it. And infrared saunas. These are part of my daily routine now. Next. So as a bird lover and an ocean advocate, have seen first hand how nature restores itself if we let it be. And healing our planet is very close to healing ourselves also. Next. This is next. This is what today while running this thing comes to me. Just tell me whether you connected to it. So can we say that science plus faith equals to nature? Has anybody any questions, anybody discussions to this? This thought came today morning to me while I was running. Science plus faith equals to nature. And faith seeks the why, science seeks the how. And together they guide us to the what, the wisdom of nature itself. Next. So as a shared journey, we don't own the earth. We sometimes forget that we are living on the earth. Earth don't belong to us. So this is because I'm a very, very hardcore nature advocate, and if you understand the connection to the nature, you will automatically understand the gut. That is the same thing which we are doing to nature, destroying the biodiversity of nature, the same thing is which we are doing to our own bodies. So when the invent of antibiotics happened, when we were younger, maybe 50 years back, maybe in 1950s, most of the deaths happened due to infections. And then somebody invented antibiotics. It changed the game altogether in medicine. So the era before that was medicine 2.0 and still is medicine 2.0. Before the invent of medicines, antibiotics were medicine 1.0. When medicines were invented, it elevated us to bring us to medicine 2.0. Invent of antibiotics, nobody used to die of medicines. COVID was an exception, but apart from COVID, nobody these days rarely dies with infections. What do we die of? All the 4 chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndromes, then heart disease, then Alzheimer's and the neurodegenerative disease. And so we need a more proactive system of medicine 3.0 to tackle these. With so many advances, you go to any hospital, does any doctor in the world being a doctor, I am also practicing both fusion of medicine 3.0 and 2.0, but I have to practice medicine 2.0. So being a doctor, you go to a doctor, anybody in the world, any good doctor has the answer to diabetes, to hypertension, to obesity, to neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, to heart disease. What are we really doing in that? We are just curbing the symptoms. If your sugar is high, doctor will give you different salts, new salts to reduce the sugar. But are we working on the root cause of it? And what happens in the lipid profile? As soon as the lipid profile rises, we just give a medicine to reduce the lipid deposits. But why is it happening? Why? We are not working on that. For example, I am a laparoscopic cancer surgeon. I am also a gut specialist. A person with me comes for a pile surgery. I do with laser, pain-free, no incision. So it's advanced, it's good, I do that. But if a patient walks in my clinic with a very painful 30-year-old young guy with piles, I treat him with laser, he gets fine. But does my job end there? A 30-year-old person getting constipation and this spoiled gut and piles is a lifestyle disease again. So do you think my job ends there? My job after treating his acute issues, so don't get me wrong, I'm not bringing the medicine down. For example, you can take brilliant example of Rishabh Pant, the famous cricketer who had suffered such a traumatic accident. It was the brilliance of medicine 2.0 which is making him play cricket for India again. Unbelievable. That is the miracle of medicine 2.0. So in all the acute conditions, you have to still depend on the medicine 2.0. If you have already had cancer, you have to get the surgery done or the chemotherapy or the radiotherapy. Where does the medicine 3.0 comes? After treating the patient with the piles, I need to get his gut microbiome test done. At 30 years, if I'm not doing that, then I'm not doing justice at all to the patient. I need to understand why it happened in the first place. There are only 3 things which can cause a hemorrhoids or a piles in a 30-year-old person. Number 1, he's drinking less water, which we have talked about it. Not optimal hydration. Number 2, he's eating less fiber diet. And number 3, very crucial, he has some inflammatory foods in his diet. There we come back again to the gut microbiome. Inflammatory foods are very, very personalized. Milk can be inflammatory for me, egg can be inflammatory for me, a broccoli can be inflammatory for somebody, as I already mentioned, and avocado can also be inflammatory for somebody. So there is no superfood, and you have to eat according to your gut microbiome. We have to, for a 30-year-old person, 100% we need to do a gut microbiome test to understand it. And anybody suffering from any chronic issues in the body, be it mental equity, loss of mental equity, bhul jana ya yaad nahi aana, or loss of, be it lack of sleep, be it chronic joint pains, obviously you have to take the vitamin Ds and all those things. But we need to work on the root cause. And now it's different era. People used to say that my mother and father had diabetes. Again, a traditional medicine 2.0 concept. So I will likely get diabetes. How many believe that? Many people believe that. But that is the genetics. The genetics definitely say that if the mother and the father has diabetes, the daughter or the child will get diabetes. That's the genetics. But genetics comprises only and only 20% of what we get. 80% is epigenetics. And what is epigenetics? Again, how our body interacts with the environment. That is epigenetics. So, and how do we interact with our environment? Mainly through our gut, because that's the first consumption area. Obviously through our air also, through our water also, but gut is a major source. So again, if our gut health is not healthy, our microbiome is not healthy, our epigenetics is gone. And with just paying close attention to your epigenetics, your gut, and all the other factors, 80% of a person whose parents are diabetes, he can easily and safely avoid diabetes all his life long. Next. So 5 life-changing biohacks: clean air, clean air, clean water, clean food, and clean supplements. In the end, if you are not getting bored, I can share a list of 8 8 basic supplements which all of you should have above the age of 35. I had made a reel on that and it trended over 2 million views. It is still trending actually. Number 5 is the back please. Now, number 4 and 5 is the clean mind and clean body. We already spoke about that. Next. So clean air. We all know we should spend time in nature. Use HEPA filters indoors. Yes, we should use it because there are so many pollutants, so many heavy metals, so many microplastics. Please stop drinking water in any plastic bottles. Carry your own water bottle because microplastics are being found in a lot of young patients who are getting heart attack. And it is the future. People will ultimately, and there is no good level of plastics. And especially in this heat, because of pollution, because of sunlight, you cannot drink water in a disposable plastic bottle ever. Again, that is, you have to put a foot down if you want to take anything from this talk. Switch to electric stoves from glass stoves. Then number 2 was clean water. We already talked a lot about it. Clean food, as I already mentioned, the basic is pesticide-free, organic-free. One more thing. So do you think that eating pesticide and organic-free food is sufficient for our health? Again, I talked about a lot about gut microbiome in bits and pieces. There is something called as soil microbiome. And once we discovered pesticides, fertilizers, chemicals, we destroyed the soil microbiome of the Mother Earth. There is similar amount of bacteria, nitrogen producing, which produces the protein intake, which produces the ultimate nutrient quality in any fruit. So now, after decades of spoiling the soil microbiome, there have been some places where people are working on the soil quality, but it is unrepairable. We can improve the quality, but we cannot get to it. So in that front, comparing scientific calculations, comparing an nutrient quality of an apple 50 years back compared to an organically pesticide-free grown apple today is just 10%. If you want to, vitamin C, everybody knows it's a water-soluble vitamin. Our body cannot produce it, we have to consume from our diet. If you only want to consume it through the food we eat, we'll have to consume 40 lemons a day. Who can eat that? Maybe 1 day, 2 day, but can you every day eat 40 lemons? So I'm not saying, so we have forced ourselves to depend on supplements. Our, coming back to our grandparents, did they had those joint pains, those back pains? But do even young 30 or 25-year-olds have back and joint pains? Because, and we say that we get a lot of sunlight, we'll go outdoors. But again, the pollution, the quality of sunlight has gone down. So we cannot just depend on sunlight. That is why every single one young people has vitamin D3 deficiency these days. And so there are some more powerful biohacks. The Blue Mind and daily movements I already told. Next. Play it please. इसको play कैसे करें?
Nature has always been my calm.
Short video.
As India's top bird photographer and an avid birder, I have had special moments connecting with birds, especially with owls during quiet bird watching. But recently, while scuba diving in Portugal, I experienced something extraordinary, a direct connection with an octopus. After patiently waiting for over 5 minutes, literally, the octopus slowly and gradually grasped my little finger with one of its tentacles, and then it slowly trying to pull me into its world. This was my deepest Blue Mind moment. As a laparoscopic surgeon and a longevity expert, I know the power of nature to activate the parasympathetic system inside us, helping us live healthier and longer. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks.
So now you can get a little bit, because I told a little background about parasympathetic. So I think you can understand what the Blue Mind activation means. So you can activate Blue Mind by hugging a tree. You don't need to go next to a water also. All the activities which you do to connect to the universe, nature in general, are all Blue Minds. Next. So this is my Blue Mind journey. As a surgeon, I am coming to those supplements, because I think that will be interesting to end the talk. So I meditate underwater, and with that, a lot of calmness and HRV activation the vagal tone activation has really been done. I'm wearing a weight belt to keep me down in the swimming pool, and I'm carrying a small scuba tank which has 20 minutes of air. So not in summers, not in winters, but in summers I do that at least 5 times a week. Next. So I have tried to start the Blue Mind movement in India, and I am sure I will take it forward wherever it can be, because as I already discovered, in this red minds area, we are living our lives in constant red mind. So we should connect to our Blue Minds. Next. Especially to school children. In the last 2 years since I've been doing this, I've started to run marathons. And I was an overachiever. I am still an overachiever. I am a hyper personality. I do lots of things. I used to sacrifice my sleep, which is a very important pillar. And since I read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, it has changed my life. Because I can function very well with 5 hours of sleep. I think I used to believe that I just need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. My mind is brilliant. But again, it's maybe working at an 80% capacity. If I have to unlock the 100%, then sleep is a very important part. So as I told, I did Surya Namaskar. I celebrated the World Ocean Day. Who celebrates the World Ocean Day? World Earth Day, many people celebrate. I hope so. So just 3 days next after the World Earth Day comes the World Ocean Day on 8th of June. And I urge and request each one of you to give it equal importance to the World Earth Day. Because when we always talk about nature, which color comes to your mind? Green, quite obvious. But when we always talk about the planet, when Apollo went outside the space, what did it saw the planet as? The blue marble. So in nature, blue is superior than green. There is no superior inferior, but 70% is water. So we need to give love and attention, and there is definitely a spiritual angle to it, which has probably brought all of you here. So that I truly believe the spirituality of water. But today we talked a lot of scientific deep concept. Some concepts might have bounced over your head. I'm sorry for that. But I would be happy to stay in touch with all of you and answer any specific queries, because this is just my passion to spread the right knowledge about water. And I left that part in between. By working, I have given a TEDx talk on nature conservation, how to maintain and how we can only maintain the balance back on Earth, restore the balance by preserving our biodiversity of the planet. Same, if we want to bring our health and if we want to anti-age of live to 180, then we have to maintain our biodiversity of our gut. Because there is new theory, the new best theory of dysbiosis, this disbalance between our gut bacteria is the reason we age also. Next. So I was recently at the Biohack Yourself documentary, which is one of the most influential health documentaries of the century, and many people are eagerly waiting to see it. Sadly, it's not yet released in India yet. It will be coming on Prime Video. So I was at the world premiere in Vegas, and I met everybody. So what is biohacking? It's a trending term. I'm just ending it. Before that, I'll just share the supplements list. So what is biohacking? Anybody? Suna to hoga. What is biohacking? It is very simple. And I'm sure that each one of you sitting here is a biohacker also. Biohacking is simply connecting to your own self and being the best version of yourself, not just physically, mentally, and also spiritually. That's simply what biohacking is. I'm not joking. That's the definition of biohacking. So what is biohacking? Eating the right nutrition is biohacking. We all spoke about hydration is biohacking. Exercise, though we have to focus on all the three parts, not one or of the three, is biohacking. Measuring and tracking our numbers, preventive health is biohacking. And the newer, adapting to newer technologies is biohacking, which can reverse your age. For example, red light therapy devices. Anybody interested, I can guide them specifically. For example, this biohack. Wearing a yellow glass is a biohack. Why? I'll tell again little bit about circadian cycle. So whenever we open our eyes in the morning, again back to our hunter-gatherer life, when we used to open our eyes in the forest, we used to get, as soon as the sun first rays hits our eyes, it activates not our vision receptors, but the master clock, the circadian clock. And there is how our day starts. So that is the circadian cycle. And when we see screens, the screens are enriched in a lot of blue light. So these are blue light blocking glasses. It spoils ideally after sunset, we are supposed to go to bed. We invented light bulb and electricity, and then we started to stretch our days into the night. We wanted to get more out of one day, more out of them, as the humans want more of everything. So we wanted everything to get the maximum of the night, and that is why we messed the sleep cycle. And that is why we again came to this. So melatonin is one important hormone which we talk about. So when we wear these glasses, we inhibit the blue light and we inhibit the toxic effects of that. And especially during the morning and the evening, if you should not look at the screens, or if you're looking through these yellow glasses, you're preventing the hindrance of the melatonin hormone cycle. It is too complex, so it will be difficult to explain in such a short time. But as I told, I can speak 1 hour on sleep if somebody is really interested. Because I love this topic, since I told I was always ignoring sleep in my life. Amongst all the pillars, sleep was the only thing which I was ignoring all my life. Next. So next. Longevity is not about the quality of, is about the quality of life and not just its length. Live it fully and wisely. To live long is not to add years to your life, but life to your years. Everybody knows this quote or believes in it, I think. Start with one choice, one habit, and one change. And believe me, today's talk was about water and the blue mind. Both are same, I think. You can get it now. And if you this is the most cheap biohack, almost free. If you don't want to purchase any of the devices, still you can focus on your optimal devices, and it will change the world in your life. I'm not joking. A very simple biohack. If you start getting flu or cold symptoms, gala kharab ho raha hai, and just start drinking water, and with either if you need to put alarms, drink water every 15 minutes, be it hot, cold, with turmeric, whichever works for you. This is very personal. But just drink water every 15 minutes for the next 6 hours. Your cold will not progress, and you will probably, or if it progresses, it will come out to be very simple. And next. So this is the marathon which I did. I'll just skip through some things. This is one of my beautiful bird pictures from Costa Rica. Must have supplements for life after 35. So as we already discussed that vitamin D3, so I'll just tell some interesting things. So anybody has idea about K2, vitamin K2? So such gross negligence is happening in that is why I started this social media channel, where I wanted to spread the right advice. This is all there in our books, but nobody talks about it. And also in our books, it is in a very, very fine print in the minutest corner, so that even never gets asked in our questions in our MBBS days, or it's royally gets ignored. Vitamin K2 is the main vitamin which will make sure, vitamin D3 you all know that you have to take to make the calcium absorb into the bones, but vitamin D3 is the hidden vitamin which will actually take that calcium into the bones. If you don't take your vitamin D3 with the K2, it may go to your arteries, like it is happening to, and like younger and younger people are getting heart attacks. And there is a particular ratio to it, so 100:1. So I found it very difficult to find the right supplement, but I'll share the list. I have everything written down. It is in Amazon. For people in US also, I can connect them to the local people there to get the right vitamin D3 K2. For people in India, I can share the exact list. I have started this personal journey. Just any supplement which I will take or I will recommend, I should know the founder of the company, so that I can ask the questions, any doubts amongst the ratio, the dose, the quality. I can directly call. The founder should be one WhatsApp or one call away. I have decided in my life. So I am doing all that effort. You can benefit from it. So most of the supplements I have worked out a deal for 10-20% discount. I don't have time to get too much into it, but at least the basic things I can help. So vitamin D3 always take with K2, and if you're taking this, then you don't need calcium. So you can skip the calcium supplements. You can throw the calcium supplements. There is no need for calcium supplement. It messes with your gut, and there is enough calcium in whatever we eat, drink. Even if except for malnourished people who are living on the streets, if you are well off, if you're living in a house, then you don't need calcium supplements. It's a combo. The vitamin D3 K2 always comes in a combo, sir. And very few companies makes it in the right ratio, which I mentioned. But I can help you with it if you want. Then comes vitamin B12, the energy booster. Everybody knows that this is a game changer, essential for energy, brain health, lots of B complex. Everybody keeps gobbling, right? But a very important thing is this common genetic mutation, which affects up to 50% of the people. So 50% people have this gene, MTHFR gene. Okay, this gene is present in 50% people, and this makes sure that you cannot absorb oral vitamin B12. So it can be in you, it can be you, it can be in me. There are obviously tests to find out, but these are expensive tests. 50% people can keep popping vitamin B12 all their lives, and they have a mutation which will not let it digest, not let it get it absorbed. And even if you bypass this, there is intrinsic factor, the acidity levels also, which helps in digestion. So oral availability of vitamin B12 is very, very poor. So either it has to be sublingual or injection. Injection is not feasible for everybody. So always look for the right sublingual vitamin B12. Sublingual means, ma'am, there are some strips or some tablets which you keep under the tongue. So it gets absorbed because our tongue is a very vascular organ. So it absorbs directly and it bypasses the gut. We already discussed the gut. So if it goes to the gut, then it cannot absorb in those deficient people genes. Then comes another vitamin B6 or folate. So again, in this, the methylation is very important. Many people take, especially pregnant women, take folic acid. Every gynecologist writes folic acid to pregnant female because it is very essential, vitamin B6. But again, hidden thing is we have to take the activated methylfolate form of folate to get it absorbed. Otherwise, folic acid is very poorly absorbed, and homocysteine, I don't know if you know, is a very important mark. Yes, ma'am? Yeah. So homocysteine is a very important marker for our cardiovascular health. And homocysteine levels sometimes for some people gets elevated in their report. One game changer, just have activated methylfolate, very cheap tablet, probably less than $1,000 for a month. And in 1 month, I can challenge you, that person's homocysteine levels will come down. And whatever information I'm sharing is all scientific, backed by a lot of research, and I can share lots of videos and papers if anybody has any queries regarding the same. So and homocysteine is the golden parameter for our cardiovascular age, health in general. Lipid profile, if it is deranged, it doesn't matter more than that. I'll come to it. So omega-3, the ultimate health tool. Again, in this also the right ratio of EPA and DHA matters. Not the many has the, but there are some vegetarian sources also, and it helps in brain focus. So these are, now you will ask, somebody is going to ask me this question, how long do we have to take it, right? Anybody has that question in mind? Right? But sir, I'll ask you the question, how long will you want to sleep? How long will you want to drink water? How long will you want to eat food? We have to depend on these supplements. I don't own any company right now. So I may own, as ma'am was still, I was joking with ma'am, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, seriously kidding. But we need to take supplements because our nutrient quality of the food has gone down. As I already told, can anybody eat 40 lemons or such similar things for such similar multivitamins? So the only thing is, when we take supplements, there is lot of heavy metal toxicity, lot of poor quality issues. So that is big issue when we depend on supplements. So personal suggestion is, you should not depend on anything except air, water and those things. So you should take these supplements ideally for life, but you can give them breaks every 3 to 6 months, whichever works for you. That's a non-scientific personal suggestion. But ideally, because for example, omega-3, it will work on your lipid profile, it will work on your lipid health. If you keep having it, you will live longer. And Dave Asprey is planning to live up to 180. I met Dave Asprey, he's become my friend now. So he's planning to live 180. And listening to so many conferences in Vegas, in Dubai, the next 5 years is going to revolutionize the field of health or everything. So just be wise to not die of any stupid thing in the next 5 years. Then everybody can ideally live beyond 100. Games is really changing, lots of new technologies coming. Before coming here, I tried one brilliant device. I don't have the video right now. It is called NeuroVisor. So it is like a goggle. It has white LED lights here. Before just coming to this conference, the parcel had just arrived. So, sorry, coming to the talk. So it has 9 LED lights. You close your eyes and it gives, you can do a meditation with the lights blinking. And it takes you to some other level. It activates those areas of your brains which have never been activated before. And it has the potential to reverse Alzheimer's, Parkinsonisms and all those diseases, neurodegenerative diseases. So I'm not saying that we should just embrace technology, we should question it, but whatever things have proven, for example, red light therapy devices, for example, ice baths. So ice baths, what does ice bath do? Today morning also I did ice bath. If anybody wants to see, my Instagram stories has today's ice bath when I spent 5 minutes into ice cold water. I have created my own ice bath from a chest freezer. So when we sit in ice bath, it releases cold shock proteins. And it is like an adversity mimetic for our body. What is an adversity? Any toxin, any viral, any infection is an adversity on our body. And we already discussed our immune system, body works brilliantly. So when I sit in the cold water in a winter morning, body will think something has happened wrong, something is wrong. So our immune system rehearsal will happen. For example, our officers on the borders, if there is no war going on, do they chill inside their room? No, they do training every single day. So this is training your immune system every single day. And it's about choosing your pains. It's about choosing your problems. It's about choosing your struggles. In life, your problems cannot go away. We can just solve the key problems. The key is in solving the problems. Problems are going to be there. Be it financial problems, you solve one problem, one more problem will arise. So the problem will always going to be there. If you can solve the problem, so the important thing is to choose and have the problems which you enjoy solving and which you can solve, compared to problems which you don't enjoy solving or which you can't solve. So somebody will say, I'm stupid, I'm very, very a big fool, why will I trouble myself or curb myself into an ice bath on a winter morning? But I'm choosing my problems, I'm choosing my struggles with that. One more important very, very important, which most people miss, is the magnesium, the calm and the focus mineral. So magnesium, there are 7 different types of magnesium in our body. 7 different types of compound which our body needs: magnesium oxide, magnesium threonate, magnesium carbonate, magnesium threorate, so but glycinate, but different magnesium works on different things. So if you take the right complex, some triple complex, some even 7 complexes are also available. Again, we need to do the research on whether the quality is right. But it works on your gut health, it works on your sleep, it works on your cognition, it works on your muscle recovery. These 4 major systems which we all have issues with, it helps with. So eating the right magnesium again daily is essential. Vitamin C I have skipped here, I think by mistake. Vitamin C I have already told. So vitamin C, all the supplements. Vitamin C, the Limc and all the 500 mg doesn't work. 1 gram effervescent vitamin C is the which we are looking for. Because I already discussed that vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin. If you don't consume it in the right way, again one big biohack. I have made a reel on Kumbh also, tips to remain healthy while you are at Kumbh. And again, this is, I posted 2 days back. So a lot of people are resharing that. In that also I share this biohack. If you get ill, or if you get gut issues, if you get throat issues, fever, anything, vitamin C is the big biohack. You just carry vitamin C effervescent tablets, mix it with water, 1 gram, have it 2 to 3 times a day. What happens is vitamin C is the most powerful antioxidant, and it boosts your immune. It's like it just lifts up your immune system, and you will not feel back. You will recover very fast. And vitamin C needs to be taken in the right way, as I already told you. So just try and carry vitamin C with you. These are some bonus picks for people with endurance athletes. NMN, which is a very anti-aging drug. It's nature's metformin. It's not nature's metformin, so it's the most molecule which works on the mitochondrial health. So I am taking NMN. David Sinclair is taking NMN since last 20 years. And there has been lots of papers and publications which is going on. And I already told you 2026 or 2027, lot of these papers will finally come to a conclusion. And it is known to be an anti-aging drug. It's not a drug actually, it's a chemical which naturally forms in our body. But if we take it externally, it boosts our mitochondrial health. And mitochondria is everything. If you talk about cellular aging or cellular health, then we have to work on our mitochondria. Berberine is berberine. I don't think people might have heard about it, because berberine is a magical molecule. It works on, it's a natural thing again. It's not a pharmacological product. It boosts your metabolism. It is for sugar. It is amazing. It helps in losing your weight, and it doesn't make you thin. It just boosts your metabolism and give you a lot of muscular and endurance and cellular health also. Why we need supplements? I have already spoken about it. That because of that. So healing soil, conserving our biodiversity, and that's it, because I don't want to speak on gut today. It will become too long. Anybody has any questions? We can.
Yeah, I would like to ask you that if we take these supplements, our bodies also naturally create a lot of hormones, chemicals.
Yes.
Would you be curbing that in some way?
No, so you're getting it wrong. Supplements will not curb the release of the hormones. Actually, what are hormones? Hormones are molecules which generate through the right micro and macronutrient in our blood. So it will actually help you release the hormones and all the molecules.
Doesn't that happen naturally in your body without
It should happen naturally, but I ask you this question: we are not consuming the right nutrient quality food. We cannot, because it's not available in the market. You cannot just buy anything and eat it. Vitamin B12, vitamin C, if you study any of the microvascular structures or processes in our body, these are molecules which play in the hormone production. For example, lipid profile, cholesterol metabolism, all these micronutrients whether vitamin B12 is in the right quantity, whether the omegas are in the right quantity, it will play a role in how your lipid metabolism happens. So your cholesterol metabolism will depend, and your cortisol, your hormones will. If you take the right supplements, the efficiency of all the system will increase.
So then, therefore, those have to also be prescribed by depending on your levels.
Yes, obviously.
You can't just take one and just.
No. So these are essential vitamins. For example, vitamin C. You cannot measure vitamin C in our blood. Magnesium. There are tests. Even if your magnesium is normal, still you should take magnesium, because if you are absolutely fit and perfect in health, then you may not take. If you have chronic health issues, chronic body pains, improper sleep, improper gut health, or any improper cognition, then you need to take. If you are, so all these supplements are not, even if you are in fit state, then you still need to take vitamin C. If you have no issues, if you are in perfect health, you still need to take vitamin B12. If you are in perfect health, you still need to take vitamin D3 and omega. At least these 3-4, everybody ideally should be consuming, even if he feels that he has no health issues. He or she feels that he has no health issues. Yes, sir?
Three questions.
Hmm.
First, you mentioned earlier about taking, starting the day with a glass of warm water.
Hmm.
How about the warm water with a squeeze of lemon?
Yes. See, these again will depend on your gut microbiome. Very brilliant question, because for some people the acidic acid which you consume with lemon might not be good for our lemon. So again, this is a universal concept that lemon water, everybody knows that squeezing some lemon into the warm water helps our gut, because it ultimately alkalinizes the gut, it doesn't create the acidity. So alkalinity, as I told, is generally good for everybody, for every system, to avoid the infections in our gut and everywhere. But still it depends on your gut microbiome. If your upper GI gut microflora are not that working, or maybe or your lower GI, if you are a more protein digesting person, then maybe taking lemon, too much lemon is not good for you. But again, just with this, if you're taking that lemon for vitamin C, it won't work, because can you take 40 lemons? Probably 1 or 2 days you will try to eat amlas, which have much more intensity. So if you can really consume up to 5 to 10, see, these things is not yet proven everywhere that how many amlas per day you need to take. So if you can consume more and more natural sources, if you take the right supplement, which I recommend, for example for vitamin C, it has amla extract only.
For me, the question was more about the alkalinity.
So alkalinity is very personal, and all these concepts, they merge with the Ayurveda concept also. In Ayurveda, you do different kinds of person. Somebody is a fire person, somebody is a water person. So similarly, the gut microbiome will be it will be like a blueprint for your gut.
Which brings me to the second question, which is when you go to an Ayurvedic doctor, he'll understand your
Correct.
your current body profile,
Hmm.
your Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Kapha, whatever.
Kata, Pitta and all those.
And
Yeah.
with the imbalance,
Hmm.
the three doshas. How does that interplay with what you've talked about?
It doesn't interplay. It is also a system, and I think so. We should believe in it. But ultimately, the epigenetics, when we talk about, even if you are a Kata Pitta, even if there are more acidic things in your gut, or even if you are a water person where your gut is a more cooler gut, it will depend. It will change the flora. So ultimately, what microbiome test is a more scientific and more clearer picture of that simplified version of the Kata Pitta and the Vata Pitta. I am not very. I forgot that little.
Couldn't you use, if I did some testing on my microbiome
Hmm.
and then used
Yes, definitely.
to understand, to basically align the food consumption that I do, so I stay in balance?
So if you narrow it down, if you read your gut microbiome, it might tell you that you need to avoid some fruits or vegetables or some broccoli or some things which may create more acidity. So if you merge the concept, it will. I think it should fall in place. That according to Ayurveda, the broader picture says that, for example, a Vata Pitta or any person who is more acidic should not eat acidic fruits. then you will see that the microbiome should also support the same fact. But microbiome will give you a more detailed report. For example, a lemon and an orange can process in a different way in a molecule. So the Vata Pitta will tell you to avoid lemon and orange both, any citrus foods in general. But this will give you even more breakdown whether this, how does the orange get digested in my body. As I told you, even an avocado can be bad. Even an oat can cause you bloating. Oats, you say. So as somebody asked me, I think ki water, milk peena chahiye. So milk is also bad. For a lot of people, milk causes constipation. For a lot of people, milk causes easing of the gut bowel movement. Many people are not so used to that they cannot, without a glass of milk, they cannot sleep. Without a glass of milk, they cannot wake up. And many people, if they eat milk, drink milk, they will cause acidity or bloating or constipation also.
Third question. You mentioned some of these studies. I think Peter Attia has.
Yes, yes. So,
So what is, I mean, what kind of research has been done on a longitudinal basis? What kind of data do we have
on what are you talking about?
on any of these practices you talked about?
Medicine 3.0?
Yeah.
So, lot of data, see, for example, BMD, and these are all, I am a fan of Peter Attia. I have read his book. In Vegas, I met him also, had a conversation with him also. So, these are all scientific researches. Medicine 3.0 isn't just a concept, it's just detailed knowledge and a more proactive approach. For example, lipid profile. Everybody does a lipid profile, and everybody starts panicking if the lipid cholesterol is high, right? But the ideal test to do is apolipoprotein B. So these are the when we do a lipid profile, for example, cholesterol is high. We just measure the number of molecules. We have to understand the size of the molecules, the density of the molecules, which are done by finer tests like apolipoprotein B. So your lipid profile can be very, very good. But if your apolipoprotein, your homocysteine, which I talked earlier, is off the chart, then there is no point of that normal lipid profile report. On the contrary, it can the reverse can also happen, that your apolipoprotein is absolutely normal, but lipid profile is slightly deranged. So in that case, you need not panic. And so these are all signs which has already been published in so many big papers, not just small papers. The medicine 3.0 is just trying to adapt all the technology which is there and just put it in a more simpler, proactive way. For example, I was telling about BMD, bone mineral density. You all might have heard about the test. It is recommended according to the medicine 2.0 to do bone mineral density test at 60. What will happen when we do a bone mineral test at 60? The bones are already osteoporotic. So then it is at a stage where it is non-reversible. You cannot reverse it. Ideally, everybody between the age of 35 to 40 should get a bone mineral density test done to understand the situation at 40. As I told, after 40, our body starts to age rapidly, our muscles declines, our bone health declines. So when decline starts, this is all published again, then we need to have the real value so that we can focus on we can determine a health plan. For example, any obese person comes to you. So a traditional doctor will tell you exercise karo, walking karo, exercise karo. But is that's the medicine 3.0 concept is saying that exercise karo is like prescribing a cancer patient chemotherapy. What dose, what exact thing has to be done, nobody tells. If a cancer patient comes, I'll just write in the prescription, take chemotherapy. It doesn't work like that. You have to give more specifications. So any person for exercise, for metabolic diseases, for diabetes, for example, again coming to diabetes in the same order, patient is labeled HbA1c. If HbA1c is above 6.4, he'll be labeled as diabetic. Between 5.7 and 6.5, he will be labeled pre-diabetic. So what happens in your values is pre-diabetic? What will a doctor tell you? He will tell you you are pre-diabetic, you should watch your diet, you should exercise, start exercising and do this test annually. That is the answer? That is an incomplete answer. If already your HbA1c levels have started to increase, you should immediately get a gut microbiome test done and start eating according to your microbiome, and then reverse the diabetes. Don't let diabetes build up only in the first place. Why wait and watch? When there are tests, when there are technologies, why wait and watch? Did I answer your questions?
Yes, that leads me to the fourth question.
Yes, please.
There are some hospitals that offer executive health checkup,
Yes, yes.
which is a full, they
Where are you from, sir? I forgot.
Los Angeles.
LA, yes.
There's one I'm looking at in Bombay,
Mm-hmm.
where they run you through 8 hours of various kinds of
Mm-hmm.
would those kinds of, and it's 360 degree, I guess, that's what I understand, but might not.
So I'll suggest you that. So it is good. It should be done. But again, looking at the quality of the test in the list, I will in 1 second get to understand if they are doing apolipoprotein in lipid profile, homocysteine levels, which still most doctors and hospitals are not done. And it is a better approach in your life that for a what gets measured, you should if you are thinking about your health, then you should track your data with the rings, with watch, with Apple Watch. You should track your sleep, you should track your HRV. VO2 max for, sorry, you were about to say something? Yeah. So VO2 max, for example, which I didn't specify too much on, VO2 max is, if you Google it right now, what is the most important health marker for cardiovascular fitness? It is VO2 max. And VO2 max can be bettered, can be improved at any age. Even there has been studies that it can be increased at 100. If a person at 100 starts aging, you can increase the VO2 max. There has been a lot of studies saying that. And VO2 max is a direct correlation with longevity. But in most of the hospitals, it's not done. It is a slightly difficult test. You have to, it's like a stress echo test. But stress echo test is still done. It's strange that why nobody is following these VO2 max, and it is 100% backed by a lot of papers, lot of scientific evidence. People have tried to measure VO2 max and improve it by, so there are a set of patterns. If you go into VO2 max, you need to work on your heart rate zones, and you don't need to slog in the gym also. Zone 2 training will improve VO2 max little bit, but for exact VO2 max training, you need to do zone 4 and zone 5 training. VO2 max is good for endurance building. It will work on your HRV. You had a question about HRV?
Yeah, so how do you measure HRV
In a normal setup, no hospital is measuring it. A ring is a most easily available way of measuring it.
The newer iWatches do, right?
The newer
iWatches.
Apple Watch does, but it's very inaccurate. Even the rings are actually inaccurate. The real way of measuring a right heart rate variability is through chest straps. Morpheus is a very famous company which Andrew Huberman is using, and there are more companies, but Morpheus is pretty cheap. In India, I called from the US, with shipping it came in just 10,000 rupees. So chest strap, you just wear a chest strap while working out, and then it measures the heart rate accordingly, and it measures the one of the most accurate measurements of heart rate variability.
And you can, so if you're doing a 1 hour workout,
Yeah.
just strap it.
Just strap it and just switch it on. And more, so again, we have to be wise enough not to be over paranoid by the numbers, by the sleep score is, because when I started using it, it happened in my journey also. I used to get up in the morning and just see at my sleep score, and then started playing in my mind. That works. So that should not happen. We should see the trends. The trends will not be wrong. Even if the tech is not that advanced to tell you the right numbers, the trend will not be wrong. So for example, the HRV on my ring and HRV on my chest strap current is is parts apart. The ring shows that I have 60, 70, which is fairly high, very, very high. But the Morpheus strap shows today morning that my HRV was 90, which is extremely an athletic level HRV.
And so coming to these measurements again, what value does BMI, BFI deliver?
BMI is a very important parameter. BMI will tell you the basic body mass index. So that is, everybody needs to measure that, will tell you ideal weight. But these are important parameters in a healthy lifestyle. But VO2 max and HRV are much way superior than. And one more interesting thing about HRV, I'll tell you, it is not as correctable or as possibilities of improving as VO2 max. HRV depends a lot on your genetics.
HRV is all about how quickly your heart
Resilient, how quickly your heart calms down. You may answer that. That is a simpler definition. It is a very complex way to measure it, but person who's not a very fit person who's having alcohol, a lot of genetics play a lot of role in HRV compared to VO2 max. VO2 max, you have to be fit and you have to be doing that effort every day to be able to dramatically change it. From 30, you can make it reach 50, 60. But in HRV, that dramatic correction is less possible according to the data and the knowledge which is available right now. You can still increase it.
Mentioning alcohol, I mean, this is a very interesting topic. So Huberman says not even a drop of alcohol. And then there's some of those who say, one glass every day.
Alcohol as a, sorry, it's 10 o'clock, I didn't see that. So alcohol is a poison, and not even one drop scientifically is recommended because it messes up with the system. But according to the blue zones, if you have read about it, there is a blue zone in Loma Linda, which is in California. So blue zone says that the culture, the social influence is more important. So in that social, for example, a person living in Italy, he has a red wine every single day in the night. So will you say he's an alcohol addict? He's definitely not. It's his lifestyle. But so in that terms, it is acceptable. But as scientific evidence, alcohol will 100% not help you.
I know you have to go as well, but
No, that's okay.
this is probably discussion for another time, which is, you're talking about blue zones and particularly the Italian example.
But blue zones data is actually messed up. If you go to it, so blue zones, people claim that they live the longest. But when you go to the science-based, many of the long-living persons are not on paper. People were just saying that they used to live 120, 130. There is no paper evidence of most of the blue zones. So many people even question the existence of blue zones. But still, we all know that human connection, social connection is a very important parameter. And if you're having fun every day with your family, with your friends, then that is more important than fussing around whether I should have a glass of alcohol or not. Or
Live 3 years longer.
huh?
Or live 3 years longer.
Yeah. So that's exactly what it is.
I just wanted to know about
I can give you my number, sir. I give you my number. No?
Yeah, I'd love to put a topic very close to my heart.
Research is done in US, and the research is done in UK, and it became a global brand, and it is being prescribed. So do you think that the regular probiotics for US people will affect on Indian people? It will not. It is again like broader concepts. It will give some beneficial effects, but not the true beneficial effects which your body needs. If you open a gut microbiome report, you will get bonkers because there are so many good and bad bacteria. So personalized probiotics is the future. We need. Yes. Very nice meeting all of you, sir. Thank you.
We'll connect with you.
Yes, thank you so much. Just please drop me a message.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. We can do a Zoom call and I can answer all of your questions. We can plan, this will be 5 days of leverage to plan because I have so many things. But I love connecting to like-minded people and spread the right information. That is why I came all the way, because 10 p.m. is vast my sleep time. I'm very, yeah. That's okay. One day is okay. Please drop me a WhatsApp. I'll share there's a PDF which has the discount code.